VoxWork.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the VoxWork podcast. I am your host, Asmogan, and these are my co-hosts.
I'm Nathan X2000. Thank you again for having me, and thank you for being back, lovely gentlemen. It's been a while.
Oh, yeah.
And I am Nico 40K. Always a pleasure to be among such wonderful company.
Nico,
I'll
apparently
tell
took
you
an edible.
what. I got some
That
of
was
that southern hospitality.
There was a bit of a mix between like Joe Biden and Bill Clinton.
I was going for Hank Hill, but okay.
Oh, okay.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I'll tell you what.
I mean Hillary, I don't mean... So today, we are covering 3 lovely topics for all of you folks, and the first big one, probably the one that's going to be the thumbnail and the title, Space Marine 2 post-launch, and our thoughts. Basically giving our simple review. I think all of us are thinking, I know I'm thinking of it, I don't know if I'll, because I'm recently have like dropped Adobe products, so I have to learn how to use DaVinci Resolve, but I know for a fact that Nathan is working on a review currently for Space Marine 2.
Yeah, I expect that sometime soon. No, you don't have to watch it if you don't want to.
I
but
am
you know.
going to.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Each and every one of you, your souls are damned to Slanesh.
Yeah.
If you don't go and watch this video, go now or forever be damned.
The moment it drops, I'll be there with popcorn and lube on one hand.
Popcorn and lube.
Popcorn.
Popcorn and lube. Do you know, I'm going to be making this review with that fucking image in my hand of some weird skeleton with a Ushanka, massive bag of popcorn, and some censored image in the other hand. Just going, who am I making this for?
Oh my!
Degenerates.
I thought I wanted Slanesh in Space Marine 2. I was wrong. I really wanted Slanesh in Space Marine 2. Fucking the monkeys pour closers. And Nico's like, y'all say something.
2 hours later.
Yep, Nathan's working on his long form review, but in today's episode, we're gonna have some discussion about, like, you know, some pros and cons of the game. More simplistic reviews is definitely what we're gonna be talking about with the first topic. So, who wants to go first with their thoughts on Space Marine 2?
The game overall, as it stands, or the roadmap, because you said before, you know, the post-launch review.
As it stands right now, like, up to what you've experienced, right? Because the roadmap we've yet to experience, you know, we can go off of, like, what they plan to do, but for right now, we'll stick to what's available.
Oh, so for right now, because right now they have actually released a few patches that have fixed a few bugs and shit.
Yep.
But the game in its launch state, apart from a few, like, objective criticisms, such as, like, matchmaking issues and, like, a few bugs with the skin system. Like, there was one, I think they patched out where, let's say you went into the heraldry menu and you unlocked the Blood Ravens, as I did. You could then select the Blood Ravens as your, like, cosmetic color. But if you didn't unlock the actual parts, the individual color schemes and emblems that make up the Blood Ravens, whenever you then re-logged in, it would then reset you to an Ultramarine. Because it would class those cosmetics as not being unlocked. I'm pretty sure that's been fixed.
And I haven't experienced that myself, so I believe so.
Well, yeah, because I think Black Templars and Imperial Fist, they have, like, the most sort of accessibly unlockable colors, because everyone wants to play some of the main chapters and legions. But Blood Ravens is part of, like, the unknown founding section, and those are a little bit, like, I think, like, the one that trips everyone up is the Ushanti Bone, which is obviously, the pauldron of the Blood Marines, the bone color.
Yep.
That is a pain in the ass to get from what I'm led to believe. But anyway, apart from those two issues, the game pretty much launched absolutely fine.
Oh yeah, I was impressed. Like with the launch experience, I was expecting a lot more visual bugs. I wasn't expecting crashing because with the leaked version we got a couple of months ago, we saw on that worked fine. Like everybody who got their hands on the leaked version reported back that it was, completely smooth, and I figured they'd only fix it up more since then. I mean, that's the ideal, right? With game development is that they don't add problems, they remove them. So,
It looks like the delay paid off.
Oh yeah,
which was refreshing and understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I speak for most gamers right now where delays used to always conjure that is like, oh, okay, but they're gonna do it they're doing this delay to fix it up, right? But ever since like Cyberpunk 2077 and a couple of other examples,
don't remind me.
Yeah, ever since how those launched, delays actually turned into a sign of dread for a lot of people because it's like, oh, they're delaying it because it's so broken they can't justify launching it right now. But in Space Marine 2, no, it feels like they actually did the delay because they were trying to make an optimized version that came out as workable as a form as possible, and it paid off. It was an incredibly smooth game. Visual bugs, there were virtually none throughout my entire campaign experience, and I had one happen during PvP, but it was like blink and you miss it kind of thing. It like a pauldron like disappeared into the armor of a guy I killed, which was just funny.
I think the only visual bug I experienced was in one of the episodes of my playthrough. Like, I zoomed in on it as it happened, where I was fighting like the Zangors while I was trying to help Chiron when he goes like kind of batshit, and the floor for some reason just pops upwards for like 2 seconds and then immediately pops back down. And then the little do you know the little flaps that Space Marines have on like the waistband where like it's got the ceramite flaps going down? Those kind of like
stuck up.
It's almost like Titus and Co just like took a few things of Viagra and they were like rock hard. Like they were staying up for no reason.
I experienced that as well during the cutscenes. It didn't happen any other time, but during the cutscenes. And the thing is, I had to have my chat because I streamed it. I had to have my chat pointed out to me. Like, I was so focused on the characters' faces and, like, their interactions. I missed it. Like, everyone was like, that's been happening a lot, and you didn't notice? I went, no, I didn't. So...
Yeah, I remember watching the very beginning of your stream of the game and how long you needed to get the SSD, to get it on the SSD, right?
Yeah, that was something I experienced. I think uniquely, because I haven't heard, and I found out later. I found out later that a part of the problem wasn't just that I didn't have the game on SSD, which I do still recommend to most people out there. If you are running a 2080 or equivalent GPU, put it on the SSD. If you don't have an SSD, don't get it right now. If you have an SSD, absolutely get it. But that is a big factor, hardware-wise, for PC players. If you're on console, I can't report on console how it's doing. But on PC, for sure, if you don't have an SSD, I would say wait until you have one to get this game, because this game really needs a solid-state drive, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, speaking as like, an IT technician by trade, and I did see some people complain saying, oh, well, if you don't have an SSD, it runs really slow. I'm like, you do know with the current state of gaming, most games do require that you run an SSD. You can't constantly rely on game companies to sort of optimize game for hard disk drives, because hard disk drives are meant for longevity. SSDs are meant for speed. I like to use like a bit of a joke saying that's kind of like asking Epic Games to make Gears of War 3 run on your old school math calculator. Like, there comes a point where your expectations of what they need to make a game run on becomes so fucking ridiculously like unattainable standards wise.
I will counter with this. I agree with you if the people with the complaint about the SSD thing are complaining, but also still want the graphics to be as good as it is. Like, if you still want a game graphically to look as good as Space Marine 2 does, or as a lot of AAA games are aiming to aesthetically, if you're like me, though, where I don't really care about, like, how graphically beautiful a game is, like, how many polygons they have to, in my opinion, waste on every single sculpt in the game. It's nice, it's cool, but at the cost of having to have an SSD, I would rather a game look like Minecraft. Like, that's me. I would rather a game look like Minecraft and I can play it perfectly smooth on a hard drive than have to rely on an SSD. That's where my standpoint comes from.
I see your counter, and it's a good counter, and I raise you a counter. It's not just graphics when you run a game.
No, but that is the biggest. That is the biggest load, or the biggest demand, is like the graphics.
Yeah, it's the biggest load, but in tandem with everything else, like, and this is just for most games that come out nowadays. Like, if you do care about graphics to some extent, you can't expect, I mean, unless some companies come out with like potato quality in, like, do you know, like, people make potato quality mods on like Nexus, and the which basically go into the system and set the physical graphics to the lowest possible setting for like a developer. Unless they come out with that natively, there's a lot of stuff that a hard drive has to load, and obviously not just the graphics. So an SSD is a no-brainer. Graphics aside, if you've got like something that basically looks like Minecraft, but you've also then got a hard drive to load the like the AI pathing, the scripting, the visual effects, the sound effects, like all at the same time for a horde-based game, then an SSD is kind of like I said, a no-brainer.
Yeah. And to that point, like, if you have an SSD and you have I'd say a 20 series period, but 2080 or better, you'll play this game on medium to high graphics, no problem. The game will run smooth as butter, and it's really, really, really fun. So if you have an SSD, and I'm hoping most gamers out there who are on PC will, I'm one of the few that don't. Well, I have an SSD, but it's my operating system is on it, and it's like a 36 gig SSD, so it's barely got any space on it. Literally, all I just for the sake of being able to play this game functionally, I uninstalled the game after my first stream, and then reinstalled it on my SSD. To do that, I had to clear out so much shit from my it's operating system, documents, Space Marine 2. That's all that's on my C drive, and it's full. I have like 10, maybe 11 gigabytes of free space on it left.
Wait a minute, hang on. Do you still have the memory system of I think me and you were in like a voice chat one day, and I decided to have a little look through your memory system, and then we realized that one of the hard drives had that weird fuck ass partition, so therefore you couldn't use the rest of it.
Yeah.
You've not upgraded that yet?
No.
Oh my god! If you do that, holy shit, you will have no issues in the future.
I'll be fine as soon as I get to do that. I'm just not able to upgrade that right now because yeah, budget limitations. Yay. So outside of obviously functionality of the game, without going too much into spoilers, narratively, how do you guys think they did?
Narratively.
Yeah.
Narratively.
Nico, you go first, because I've got a bit of a comment.
Yeah.
To be fair, all of my opinions for this game, I'm literally just bringing up the fucking script that I wrote like previous. It's like a cheat sheet.
Yeah. I think I'll have the shortest take on this because, I don't own the game. Because I would love to say it's like, oh, I'm holding to my principles and I am still in the boycott.
I had it bought for me, so.
Yeah, I know. It's like I love to say that, but it's simple as like I can't buy it. But from what I've seen, so far, like there isn't that many complaints outside of, well, I think the biggest one for me is that, and this again, I knew instantly this was going to be an Ultramarines game. I knew that. It still is a bit of a. It's maybe just a me thing. I think it's just a bit irks me that we don't get like you start off as a Death Watch captain, and you have this. You have the other Death Watch brothers
Beautiful
from all
Mark
different
7 armor.
Yes, and beautiful Mark 7 armor. And it's like you have from all bunch of chapters, and they all die. And then you die for... and then you die. And instead of getting into a dreadnought, which would be the case usually...
That would be a
Your
very
rest of-
different game.
Yeah, I
No,
was gonna say, like, it wouldn't be Space Marine 2, it would just be Dreadnought 1.
it would... I mean, that could actually be cool, but yeah. So... And then you're resurrected by the... crossing the Rubicon, and you become a Primaris Marine.
Yes, the
And-
Rubicon surgery.
Yeah, the Rubicon surgery. And suddenly, spoiler alert. Can I spoil it? I might as well spoil it, right?
There are some people that technically still haven't, like, I think they're still waiting to play the game, so just to be on the safe side.
Okay. I'll be on
spoilers.
I'll be on the safe
I'm
side.
literally holding off for one more week until I can just go balls to the wall. Fuck it.
I'll just say a chaplain from the Ultramarines visits you and says that you have never, for over 100 years, like what was it, 200 years of service?
200 years, yeah.
200 years, yeah. Then it's like you have never faltered in your service, but you can never truly forgive yourselves unless in the eyes of your brothers. And it's like, can we just keep him in the Death Watch, please? Please?
I would.
Yeah.
I would have vastly preferred if they did. Honestly, there's no reason the developers needed to make the main character an Ultramarine again. Even if they wanted to still work with Titus, like Death Watch, that works perfect. And it would have been a great opportunity narratively for them to introduce other chapters and legions to, the normies, right? Because
Yeah.
the Ultramarines are like, even normies know the Ultramarines by a glance, but they don't know Space Wolves. They don't know the Imperial Fist. They don't know any of the other subsequent legions, let alone chapters, because there's almost no focus of them in the video game space. So this was an opportunity to branch out and showcase multiple in one go with the Death Watch, as well as showcase the Death Watch itself, which, again, normies I wouldn't say instinctually or would immediately recognize.
Yeah.
So instead, they chose to do Ultramarines, which was the only excuse I could think of for why they chose to do that is that GW mandated it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it kind of goes back to that little analogy of what does a vegan dog, a trans child, and a second Space Marine game involving Ultramarines got in common?
What?
You know who's making the decisions in that relationship. Like, and Asmo, you're absolutely right, because the game is called Space Marine 2, not fucking Ultramarine 2. If it was called Ultramarine 2 and then it deviated to like the fucking Dark Angels, I would vouch saying, but the game's called Ultramarine 2. Why are you going to the Dark Angels? That's clearly like not the fucking title of the game. But it's called Space Marine 2. Space Marine is a massive umbrella term incorporating the Adeptus, Astartes, so you could do anything. So Titus could have literally stayed in the Death Watch, but no, somebody behind the shadows was like, we need to sell more models, and Primaris are doing well, but they're not doing well enough.
And that's exactly it, by the way. For anybody wondering why would GW mandate it, that right there, it's to sell the models. Because what's on virtually every box for individual models for Space Marines? It's Ultramarines. Like, that's the base art, the paint coating that they do on all of the box sets. Now, obviously, the combat patrols, there's a variety, thank God. But in terms of all the base models, though, if you pick up a tactical squad of Primaris, intercessor squad, I should say. If you get assault intercessors, if you get anything on those boxes, what is the paint scheme? Ultramarines. So they did it for brand recognition. So people who would learn of 40K through this game would then look up 40K, find the models, and they would see the Ultramarines. So that's exactly why they did. This is entirely a marketing thing, and that's why they mandated it.
I'm just reminded of that. Do you reckon there's a 40K equivalent? Remember when Starfield? Oh shit, is it Starfield? The Bethesda game, Starfield.
Yeah, that's
Starfield.
Yeah. Remember when that came out and heels versus babyface was like fucking pronouns?
Because that's all we fucking know! Because we're boring! We're so fucking boring!
I feel like there's a 40K equivalent. He goes, oh, I just go on to my next 40K game, and guess what's right in there? Fucking Space Marines! Because we're boring!
Fucking Ultramarines!
Ultramarines!
Fucking doing it for McCray! Because we're
That's me.
boring! It's so fucking boring!
Oh, that's genius.
Fucking
Oh,
Ultramarines!
That's me every time. Like we have to play Ultramarines. I fucking hate it. It's Matt Ward did so much to fucking make them the main characters, but by God, it just hasn't gotten any. It hasn't gotten any better. Like I freaking hate him.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's a massive missed opportunity. I mean, I feel like they could have made the big tutorial mission basically so that you could find a way to survive and remain, a Mark 7, because I mean, we don't get enough Mark 7 anymore. We don't. And they outright replaced it, didn't they?
Yeah.
So
And that's why, I given GW mandated it here, I'd say in any future games, whether it's Space Marine or anything that just features the Astartes, will probably mandate also Ultramarines and also mandate Primaris, because most of the Firstborn kits have been discontinued for 40K. Unless there's a Horus Heresy style video game that comes out. If they do that and it's based around the Horus Heresy, we'll probably get Beakies get mandated as like the armor set, which I personally I don't like the Beakies, but I like them more than Primaris. So
fair enough. Yeah,
Nico, going back to what you said, like in the tutorial mission, there should be a way to sort of keep him as a Mark 7, like old boy Marine. I will say, you do know if they did that, they'd have to do a whole new fucking game at the side, because the entire narrative is him being a Primaris throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many points of him getting referenced as a Primaris. If they somehow found a way to keep him Mark 7, like maybe during that Carnifex fight, he just fucking dunks on him. Oh, I don't even think the game would be out until, like, what, 2026?
Yeah. But
2026, 2027.
I mean, granted, this is all wish fulfillment. I kind of knew they were gonna go for Primaris.
Oh, yeah.
We all did, so.
Yeah. And but yeah, so I don't really. That's the thing. Like outside of that, I guess I can't really say much more without spoiling it. And I think it'd be better that you guys say that.
Yeah, would you say generally you like the story outside of that?
Yeah, I would definitely like. I do want to play this game. Like, not just like it seems like a fine. It's a fine 40K story. Like nothing groundbreaking, but nothing that like screams out like, oh, this is gonna be the end of the franchise, or something that's gonna be irreparably damaging a bit of lore, like a certain book I'm gonna keep mentioning.
I think I think there's a few books that you could be referencing there, Nico. So do you want to name the book?
9,
Yeah,
the
it's-
Death Part 3.
Well. I mean, we did have a whole podcast on it, so
Oh, that one, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I think that in general, that's my thoughts, at least of what I have without playing it. It looks really fun, and I do want to play it one day. So what about you guys? What are your thoughts now that you guys have played through it?
Narratively, for me, narratively, I will agree with the point that it's nothing groundbreaking, but that's from the perspective of being a lore nut and like being into like the books and in the tabletop, like being as into 40K as I am. I will say, narratively, this isn't groundbreaking, but it didn't need to be. It just needed to be of equal quality or slightly better than the first game, narratively. And I would say the first game wasn't narratively groundbreaking either for 40k. But again, didn't need to be. And it did a very, very good job. I do think it, in small ways, it elevated on the writing of the first game. And in like one minor way, I think it fell a little short of the narrative of the first game, but that's hardly worth mentioning. It's literally just I think I'm the only one who would be bothered by it. So generally speaking, narratively, I think they did a very good job. It's extremely faithful to 40k.
What's the point, Asmo? Name it. Go on then. Do it.
Okay. The very, very minor thing I think the first game did better than narratively than this one is the transition between the Xenos threat to the Chaos threat. I felt narratively this one was a bit of a sharper turn in the second one, in my opinion.
It doesn't bother me, but I hard agree that the transition between the Orcs and Nemeroth, between the Tyranids and Imra, Space Marine 1 did it way fucking better, because to be fair, unless you looked at all the promotional material of Space Marine 1, you actually didn't know it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically there is a Chaos Berserker on the... No, not Chaos Berserker, Bloodletter on the front of the box art, is there?
Of the first game?
Yeah.
We'll have to check that.
I'm out, like, I'll let you go. Space Marine 1, there is a Chaos Bloodletter. But to be fair, it is kind of off to the side. So yeah, unless you proper looked in depth about the promotional material, you wouldn't have known that there was Chaos, unless you kind of played it proper. Like, or you knew all 40k, not being like a shitter going into it.
Actually, I think that's the Squig.
That's a Bloodletter.
Are we looking at the same one? I think it is a Bloodletter, but I think it could be mistaken because it's not the full head. The Squigs have a similar red face with a glowy eye and sharp teeth, so you could mistake that as a Squig. So it's very subtle.
It does. I'm looking at it now.
Only because of the actual shape of the head, technically, because Squigs are sort of more squishy, like a big beach ball, rather than the slim skull of the Bloodletter.
True.
But yeah, if you are a shitter of 40k, you can actually mistake that for a Squig. So yeah, that is a good point, because that's like another point of sort of, haha, it turns out they were Bloodletters all along. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Nico, you go.
No. I was just gonna say, from what I personally see, it does look like a Bloodletter to me, anyway. But I could sort of see how it could be a Squig, but I don't think the face is puffy enough. Either way. All right, go on.
It just needs to be obscure enough that, especially if you're not like as tuned into the lore, you can make the mistake.
Yeah. The only thing. Wait, were we done? Because the only thing I was going to add is that I don't understand the sharp turn because, well, orcs at the very least, they have some personality. They can, and going that from all the way to the Tyranids. I mean, they're from what I've seen, they look far more fun.
The turn I'm talking about is within the game. Like within Space Marine 1, we go from the Xenos threat, which is orcs, to Chaos, and I thought the transition between the two is a lot smoother. And in the second game,
the reason I bring up the promotional material as well is because in Space Marine 1, you never really saw a lot of Chaos in the promotional material, but how many of us even Saber released the trailer of just Rubric Marines right in your fucking face.
Yeah.
Like, it was, like, the promotional materials, like, ooh, look, what fuckery, ooh, I wonder who's doing this, ooh.
Yeah, and that is fair to bring up, because we knew it was coming, it probably felt a little bit more sharper in the second game. So that is a fair point, and like I said, in terms of, like, nitpicks, it is a nitpick for me. The only other problem I had narratively with Space Marine 2, and I mentioned it multiple times on stream, is this is a minor spoiler for the very beginning of the campaign, so warnings, but very minor spoiler. It's within the first hour. with Titus being made to cross the Rubicon and rejoined into the Ultramarines, he was a Black Shield within the Death Watch. For those who don't know, Black Shields, they completely cut themselves off and disconnect from their home chapter. To become a Black Shield, it's literally of you vowing, like, hey, I make no, or I do not maintain any established connections to the chapter I hail from. I am now 100% dedicated to the Death Watch, and it's a unique position. And you have your pauldron that would normally within the Death Watch hold your home chapter insignia. It's now colored black, and it's usually chained over or covered over. You see it in the game, and lore accuracy wise, visually they had that pretty good. It's no small thing to become a Black Shield. So with those vows, it's for life. Like if you are a member of the Death Watch, especially as a Black Shield, it's a lifelong service. You are a member of the Death Watch till you die.
Like, this is not a decision that you can just reverse.
Yeah, you are vowing your existence to the Ordo Xenos and the Inquisition. You and the Death Watch. You are permanently assigned to the Death Watch. That's what becoming a Black Shield represents. And the excuse the game gives for why he's no longer required to uphold his vow to the Death Watch is that, and we hear it with a dialogue with the chaplain, the excuse is, oh, he died. Well, that doesn't work in 40k. You can't you can't pull a Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. like that doesn't work in 40k, because in 40k, death for Space Marines and being brought back from it is extraordinarily common. Now, in the grand scheme, technically, it's still not. Like, most Space Marines, they die. But dreadnoughts are a thing. They've been a thing in 40k since the inception. There are dreadnoughts in the Death Watch. There are dreadnoughts in the Death Watch that didn't join the Death Watch as dreadnoughts. So, if they weren't relieved of service after their death and allowed to return to their home chapter, it doesn't make sense that crossing the Rubicon would be treated differently. Because, yeah, you died, but you came right back. So when you come back, your vows and your oaths come back with you. So him leaving the Death Watch, or being allowed to leave the Death Watch, doesn't make any sense. His vow his vow and oath should still be maintained. He should still be in the Death Watch. Now, it'd be one thing, and we get a little dialogue about it. The part that would make it okay or make sense to me is just a small little bit of dialogue where, Gilliman stepped in and directly requested from the Inquisition to allow this transfer back and this oath to be allowed to be broken. If Gilliman had stepped in, I believe the Inquisition may have let it go. Calgar stepping in, which is what the excuse that they give. Calgar, who's just a chapter master, and a lot of people out there will be like, well, that's a big deal. Yes, it is. For Space Marines, for the Inquisition, you're just a chapter master. You're a dime a fucking dozen. The Inquisition looks down on Space Marines. They have, technically, more authority than them. They are above them. A chapter master does not have the authority to overturn an oath to the Inquisition. And Calgar doesn't have the rep with them to do that. Not the whole Ordo Xenos. So, that excuse doesn't work. They could correct it with simply adding in dialogue that Gilliman stepped in with Calgar and made it permissible, or if they just added it as a controversy later, that this wasn't reported fully to the Inquisitional details, so there's actually going to be some political backlash from it. If they do that, that'll fix it for me. Generally speaking, though, as it stands, there's still room for them to fix it. And there's also room for them to retroactively change something to fix it. But also at the same time, I don't think the devs are going to address it in the writing at all, because other than lore nuts like me that know what a Black Shield is, that know the intricate lore of the Death Watch, and know, like, outside of people like me, who gives a fuck? And the answer is nobody, to be honest. So, this is just if you are a major fan of the lore, this is an inconsistency that doesn't make any sense. But is it more egregious than any other like lore breach for the sake of other video games? To be honest, probably not.
I mean, just the fact that the Primaris just exists. I mean, that alone
in itself is lore bullshit.
Yes.
So yeah, like I said, no, other than me, not a lot of people are gonna care, if anybody. And like I said, the game is amazing outside of that. So outside of like the, not loving the transition between the Xenos and the Chaos threat, and that lore inconsistency, which again, both of those are nitpicks, admittedly. They only matter to people at the level of fandom that I'm at. Most people are either not going to even know it nor care, and even if they do know it, they're probably not going to care. And that's fine, because these little tiny things, does this hurt the game overall, in my opinion? No. Did it cause my experience to be bad by any stretch? No. So it's not anything big deal. It's literally just for me. It's these little things that bother me. But if people want to know, do I have any cons? Yes, I have those too. Outside of that, no. The game is perfect pretty much in every other way. I mean, like the way the Space Marines fight is really, really good. I really love the gameplay mechanics. The rest of the narrative is really good. I actually really liked that they made you-know-who a chaplain. It made perfect sense. Like, they just did an amazing job with the narrative, and it is extraordinarily lore accurate. They did a very good job. And gameplay-wise, love the hell out of the gameplay. It was very, very good. I will say, especially in PvP, range is king. Melee sucks. Obviously, you can still get kills, and there are probably people out there going to be like, hey, I do melee, and I do really good. Awesome.
I do fucking melee as the bulwark, and it's amazing. Oh, it's so tight.
Range is king, though. Like, most, like, the snipers always have, like, the highest kill counts every match I've played. For both sides, mind you. Like, for both Loyalist and Traitor. Like, the snipers, anyone who's in heavies, both get pretty good kill counts. You can get kills with melee, but melee is, in my opinion, it's got more of a skill ceiling.
Is it that old saying, snipers get more hit?
Snipers may wear diapers, but they get all the ladies.
Ironically enough, one of the best melee classes in the game is the sniper.
Melee? What?
It is right. So just a bit of a tangent before we get on to if you want to hear it, my side of the narrative thing. Is the sniper has the ability to turn translucent, like nearly invisible, and if you just hide in a corner, you can. Like, what I like to do, like I always love to do is this in like Rise and Storm and Hell Let Loose, is I like to be really sneaky and stay the fuck still, and I inch myself behind the enemy front lines. So with the sniper, I'll just do that weird third person bullshit where like you can literally look like around crates without having to reveal yourself, a la Gears of War style, turn myself invisible, run all the way behind to where their snipers are hiding, and literally get one free sneak hit on them. They shit themselves, and then I'm already laying them up with the 2 combo, and it kills them every fucking time. It works on snipers, vanguards, and tactical marines. They almost shit themselves. Like, what the fuck? Where the fuck did he come from?
Oh, that was a good job, mate. Except up close.
They are too busy looking ahead of them, like where they think range is king. And I'm at the side, like, hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear, tell you something the Chaos Guards might like to hear.
Oh no, he did the ditty.
Oh god.
The Alpha Legion battle barge is just full of baby oil. No one questions why.
But yeah, Nathan, go ahead with your thoughts on the narrative, because I only have the 2 negatives, and again, they're nitpicks, I'll acknowledge, and also personal to me. Outside of that, like, I thought it was great.
I do understand your point on Calgar, but I'll be the devil's advocate and be a dickhead as I usually am. But I'd argue not all chapter masters are created equal.
To the Inquisition,
Like-
they very much are considered. Calgar, you could definitely make an argument he has more.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because
reputation,
he's the chapter master of the Ultra. Like, if it was the chapter master of the fucking Lamenters, I'd be like, ooh, like you're a literal nobody. Get out my face. But if it's Calgar who answers directly to one of the only alive sons of the Emperor, as far as they know, maybe because he's Big Daddy Calgar. And it's like, okay, sure, we'll release Titus, whatever. Just get out here, you great bald and prick. It's like, yay, thank you.
For
But
me, Gilliman even asking it is a maybe. I can easily see it with Gilliman. Calgar alone. Now, if he had a signed thing from Gilliman saying, "Hey, this is something I want to do,"
what is it? A fucking doctor's note from it? Like from his, like just hand him. Like, do you have a slip from from your parent, Primarch? Yeah, there you go. Fine.
All right, Harry, you're closer on.
pretty much.
all
I
right?
mean, that goes to show you, like, that's what I'm trying to get across is the Inquisition, by all accounts, outside of the High Lords of Terra, is the highest authority within the Imperium. Like, the Inquisition is directly the result of Malcador's little shit that he was doing, but way back when. They are the highest authority in the Imperium. They are above Space Marines definitively.
Oh yeah.
And so, a chapter master, even one as reputable as Calgar, requesting that a Death Watch member that's a Black Shield that swore an oath to them, it would be considered a slap in the face request, because you're asking to have this guy who's a null psyker, at least believably so, or at the very least is extremely resistant to warp threats, which also makes me wonder why he's in the Death Watch, because that would make him more of a Grey Knight kind of pick. But that aside, you're asking to take such an asset from the Inquisition. The Inquisition love null psychers. They love blanks. It'd be one thing if it was asking just hey, this Marine who had some shady background, but he's a normal Marine. More likely. Titus, who was able to resist warp corruption while holding that fucking relic. I don't see the Inquisition, short of Gilliman, walking in and asking them to let it go. I don't see them letting it go without resistance and without a fight. It'd be a political situation, for sure.
They just let it go, and then it's just like, oh, just you wait. I'm gonna get that back, motherfucker.
Now again, they still might be like, it's one of those things where they still could address it, as like, oh, the Inquisition wasn't like fully aware of like the situation, or wasn't. If there's something, something they can do there to kind of explain it, but they just didn't. My problem is with the current narrative as is available, they didn't explain it like properly, and Calgar making the request just doesn't cover it. But again, it's a nitpick to me, and to anybody I think that is like really into the lore and knows those details. To normies and to the vast majority of people who are more like not necessarily casual but reserved fans of 40k, it's not gonna be even a point of concern.
Are you indirectly calling me a normie of the law, Mister?
No. You're more normie than me.
Well, yeah, technically, but okay, we'll humbly agree to disagree, because I do see it from your point of view about the Inquisition as just snobby arseholes who kind of only look out for themselves, given the authority straight from Malcador, because they need to act as a separate entity. Because if anything fucky goes on with the Space Marines again, you know, they don't want a Horus 2 Electric Boogaloo, do they? But then, in my defense, I'd argue that not all chapter masters are created equal, and these are the Ultramarines after all. Matt Ward set up the Ultramarines as the Imperium's
Missed a detail here and there,
But Asmogan, they were Black Space Marines. Asmogan, boycott the game. The Black Space Marines, cancel it. Fucking pronoun.
and as
Fucking skin color.
As I've explained in the past, in the books, they introduced the multiracial thing within Legions, and the counter to that that's often put up by lore nuts, supposedly, is that the Space Marines do have a genetic component that there's two things. Like, they have a genetic component that changes their skin color.
It doesn't do it 100% all the time, though, does it?
No, that's the other thing.
Yeah, okay.
They have a component to their genetics that allows them to change skin color depending on their environment, and just to suit said environment. And then they also have the aspect of the gene seed which transfers over appearances from their Primarch. Now, one thing that needs to be clarified with that a lot of people who use that as an argument against the multiracial thing within a legion or whatever, it's, especially for Ultramarines, that excuse, generally across the board for Space Marines, it's not one-to-one. Like, oftentimes when it's brought up as a point of contention for like a diverse set of, racially speaking, Space Marines, that argument doesn't work. Now, if you're talking about salamanders, it's different. Like, salamanders, a key point of their appearance across the board is they're charcoal black. And obviously, they're the genetic component that allows other Space Marines to change their skin color depending on their environment is not as present, if at all, for the salamanders. But pretty much every other Legion / chapter, they like that change in skin color isn't necessary. Like, like the environments that would require them to change their skin color, we're talking like they're going to a volcanic planet and they might be normally pasty white, so they go a little tan to deal with it because of like or a thinner atmosphere with a really strong sun. Like that, we're talking like major environments where their skin would change tone, and it hasn't been referenced in a long time. Not to say it is there, and that is something to point out, but wouldn't change eye shape for like the Asian dude, right? Like, they would just literally, your skin tone would just go up and down, kind of like the difficulty slider in that South Park game. It's like, ah, shit, like the sun here is really bad. Let me just turn that a little darker. There we go. But as for like the carryover from the Primarch aspect, it's not one-to-one. And like, the thing is, it's not like, oh, I'm making that excuse based on newer books. No, you go back to the very first novel of the Horus Heresy, Horus Rising, and you go to the Mournival, and you talk about Little Horus, who is a member of the Mournival, the Warriors Lodge. The reason he had that nickname amongst the Sons of Horus / Luna Wolves is because he uniquely looked similar to their Primarch. Everybody else didn't, if as a lot of people imply with that genetic element of the gene seed, where they take on the appearance of their Primarch, like, they always make it out to be it's one-to-one. If that were true, Little Horus wouldn't be nicknamed that, because he wouldn't be unique. It wouldn't have been a notable thing to the point that they nicknamed him it, especially within Horus's own legion. So he uniquely looked like that. That is from the very first book of the Horus Heresy. So that has set the tone for a long-ass fucking time. A long-ass time.
It's also because, like, if everyone looked exactly the same, like, how would you tell the characters?
Yeah,
it would be more difficult to tell them apart.
Yeah, so when we talk about, like, that aspect of their gene seed where they take on elements of their Primarch, it can literally be as small as their hair color or their jaw shape, like, or eye color. Literally just small details can be carried over. So having a black Ultramarine or a black White Scar or an Asian Rogel Imperial Fist, that totally can happen, because that just means they didn't take on any kind of especially notable element to their Primarch's genetics. Now, in some cases, rarely, like Little Horus, they will look identical to their Primarch. Skin tone, eye shape, jawline, like, all that will look similar. But it's definitively, it's not consistent. So having a black ultramarine and an Asian ultramarine, that breaches no lore. And anyone who says that that breaches the lore, you're just wrong. Now, if you're against it because the reason for it is for diversity points, I mean, that's fine. Just be honest about that. Don't try and like add something to the lore or alter the lore to suit your narrative, because that's what the other people do. And I fucking hate them for it. I'll hate anybody on our side doing it too.
Mm-hmm.
Don't change the lore to suit your narrative. Like, use what is actually there. And what is actually there is not like that one-to-one element. So that's just something to point out. Now, if your problem with it is diversity, that's an entirely... And we all know the reason they did it, for sure, is to have some virtue signal browning points. That's probably why they did it. But again, like I've said it in the past, if this is the wokest it gets, is that they just made some diverse characters, but the characters are still interesting and they don't put a spotlight on it and they don't try and stroke themselves off with it, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Let them do it. Okay, fine. You want to have a black ultramarine, you want to have an Asian ultramarine, you want to mix it up, go right ahead. As long as they don't do that contrived bullshit where they take time out of like our immersion to be like, hey, look at what we did. I don't care. Like, I wouldn't even call it woke at that point. Like, it's what they did here was not even... It doesn't breach the lore. It's perfectly fine, and they didn't put a spotlight on it. It's fine. So that's like something I just want to point out about that. That is kind of annoying with that argument.
Fair enough.
And the perfect segue from that is speaking about Chiron himself. Because at no point did, when Titus is walking around with Chiron and Gadriel, who is Asian, by the way, because Arthur Lee plays him, like, he's phenotyped as Asian in the game, like with the facial structure. It's very subtle, but Chiron's isn't. At no point did Chiron just turn to Titus and say, hey, you whitey, you complain about being made a Primaris, but where the fuck's our reparations for Kel, bitch?
It reparations now, motherfucker.
Like, well, fuck my Promethean fried chicken, bitch. like they didn't make him like stereotypical black and just like Afrocentrist black. Chiron himself is the perfect example of a character that is black. He just happens to be black. Yeah, because that motherfucker. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just a small thing with that. It's like diversity was done in like a 90s movie, right? Where it's just done naturally. Like,
yeah,
they let it lie. It's there, and they don't make a big deal out of it. And that's how you do diversity in fiction. That's what we've been asking Hollywood and like video games to go back to, right? Is you want diverse characters, all right, do it. Don't put a spotlight on it. Just be like, hey, it's just there. Let it lie. Make the character compelling, interesting, and lovable, and the rest will fall into place. You don't need to hit people over the head with it and stroke yourself off to us about it. Like, that's the kind of diversity that we want in fiction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's the whole difference between a black actor and an actor who is black.
Exactly.
It entirely depends on which one comes first. And like I was saying, Chiron is just a fucking wonderful Space Marine. I love the narrative in Space Marine 2. I loved it. Because narrative, for me, as I was going through the game, was a lot more than just the story itself, but it was the dialogues, it was the relationships. Like, Chiron is just a nice goody two-shoes who just gets along with everyone, and he's a smart ass, so he's always making quips at Gadriel's expense. Gadriel serves as the tension between Titus and, basically being an ultra. He's basically Leandros 2.0, because he's constantly questioning him, but it was a fair point within the campaign that Titus was very reluctant to speak about his past. So there's that tension that goes on, and it moves along at a nice pace. Even like the side characters like Liuz and Nozick, the Mechanicus, because when Liuz confronts Titus about, hang on a minute, wait, Titus? Did he just say your name's Titus? Oh, yes it is. You're Titus Thundercock, saver of Graia, killer of Nemeroth. Yeah. I was like, you that Titus? Damn, how the fuck are you alive? And Gadgeor's like,
That's who you are.
like the other side characters such as Captain Asmogan, Captain Akaran in the battle, but I still fucking reckon you're like Captain Akaran.
Fuck off.
And he's an ultramarine. If you haven't seen it, go to episode 1 of my playthrough and just look at the side by side I do of them. It's a spitting image. Art's beautiful. Mwah. But yeah, there's also Captain Akaran, who acts as the tension between him and Titus of between rank and experience. Because Captain Akaran is basically, I'm like, look at me, I am the captain now. Whereas Titus is a master strategist. He took down with 2 other Marines and like an Orc Warg using the warp device that they got from Drogon, as well as he single-handedly killed a demon prince post-ascension in fucking melee combat.
Ooh.
So why the hell they call them heretical, I've got no idea, but you know all that bollocks. But yeah, that's what Captain Akaran serves as. He's because there are several times he's like, oh, do I make myself clear, Lieutenant? You know, and all. I just wanted to punch him in the face. Because, like, who the fuck are you speaking to like that? I am Titus Thundercock. That's my headcanon name for him, but that's why I keep calling him that. Because you have to have a power penis to be that, like, balls of ceramite to kill a demon prince single-handedly. There's also the dialogue exchanges between him and the operations teams, which they don't actually add narrative, but it's a little bit of flavor for Titus. So, like, throughout the game, it's a combination of between the meta issues of what's happening, such as the Chaos Incursion, the Tyranid invasion, the strategy, the hive world, like the burial worlds that are being demolished, Kadaku and Avarax and Demirium. But then there's also the personal narrative of Titus overcoming his ideas of being demoted to lieutenant, having your teammates question you like the original game, and basically how he's now adapting to becoming a Primaris, having gone through the surgery, which again he never got a fucking choice in. But so that's why I love the narrative, because there's a lot more going on. I think Saber nailed it perfectly. They basically gave us a game where you can sit down, turn your brain off, and go, haha, shooty bugs, shooty glowy blue Egyptian boys. But then if you actually pay attention to it, there's a lot more themes going on. Especially the dialogue between him and the chaplain. Ooh, that is spicy. I've never wanted to punch a chaplain more in my life. And there's a good fucking reason for that, turns out. So... Anyway, yeah, not to turn into one of those fucking video essay YouTube channels that analyze like every single tiny little detail in like a movie or like a TV series or whatever. But yeah, I love the narrative for those reasons. Loved it.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair. Just in my case, it's not really a disagreement with you. It's just that for me, like, I recognize all that, and it is really good, and I do enjoy the narrative. I would say it's good. It's high quality. It just wasn't perfect. But again, I'm a bit anal about some of those parts that I didn't love. But no, I would agree with like your assessment though and all that. And for anybody who doesn't have the same nitpickiness I do, you'll probably feel as Nathan does. Or, obviously Nathan's also a fan of the first game. So I suppose for people out there who haven't played the first game, you wouldn't feel as Nathan does. Nathan, you're a veteran of the Space Marine game. You love that narrative. You enjoyed the hell out of it. So did I. Mm-hmm. So for you, you're going to have a greater appreciation for it. You as well. Sorry,
yeah.
Nico.
Yeah, it's fine.
So I will say, like, if you're someone who you're jumping into this game but you never played the original, there are parts of it you won't appreciate as much, but that comes with any sequel, I would say.
I mean, I would also say like not knowing it is a great way to actually get someone into 40K.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
it's like you are the lore nerd. I know especially that my sister's husband has been playing this game, and when I eventually will get this game, I am gonna play it through him, and I'm going to be like, okay, did you know about this? Oh, did you know about that? It's like, well, that actually is this, and it's like it'll be fun to hear that. It's like, what?
Wait. Okay, Asmo, maybe think of it like this. Obviously you don't disagree, so don't think I'm coming at you with shade, but you said, oh, it's not perfect. Name me a perfect representation of 40K that has never gotten any lore wrong. Because that's why I appreciate Space Marine 2. Because I can't think of a single thing that doesn't sort of go against what's been previously established. Like, it's always expanding.
I would say, in terms of the perfect representation of 40K, there definitely isn't one. First off, but
On a war?
in
Nah.
terms of like the closest,
But there's no perfect representation. That's my overall point.
You are right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and plus considering what we could have gotten with what was feared several fucking years ago with the writer.
Yeah, like the fear.
Yeah.
That put the fear of God in a lot of us. That was a fright. That was frightening.
Although there is one remnant of that writer being in the game. Because Titus underwent surgery that he was lied to about and he never got a choice in.
Oh!
Goddamn.
Oh!
I'll see myself out.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, and yeah, you're right. There isn't a perfect representation of 40K outside the books, and they're like the original source, right? For video games, for media, probably the closest I could think of, off the top of my head, would probably be the Astartes project. Even that has flaws, though, and I'd say this is to show you how much though I do really love the game, because I know it might be coming off like I'm saying I don't join the game or something like that. Probably because I'm overselling like the negatives, I guess. This game I'd say is on the level of Astartes for its representation of 40K. Like it's on the level, maybe a little short of it, but it's on the same level. Like I don't mean at all to come off like I don't recommend the game or that I don't think it's like high quality or anything like that. No, in fact I do intend to imply the opposite. It is very very good. I'm just like I said, I'm very nitpicky with 40K stuff. I will always notice the flaws very fast. And that comes with being as obsessive as I have been for the franchise over the years. So that's me. But again, I don't want to oversell the negative.
I was gonna say, funny you mentioned Astartes, because obviously people that have watched my playthrough will know the comment that I made. But did anyone watch the very opening, like when you're in that Death Watch sort of Thunderhawk? That looked a lot like Astartes, like the quality, like the blue filter over everything. I would not be surprised if the Astartes dude did that first section of the opening.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't think he did, but that genuine. But if you told me he did, I'd be like, "Yeah, makes sense."
I mean, would you say that he may have been inspired by it? Like, or the ones that did that cutscene could have been.
They would be
inspired by Astartes?
idiots if they didn't take inspiration from Astartes, and it genuinely looks like they did.
Oh yeah, it definitely looks like they did. Like that opening cinematic, yeah. But I haven't checked the credits, so there's a like I don't know if for anyone who's seen the credits, and like paid attention to them for like the animations and cinematics. If you see a name of Sayama Peterson in there, then yeah, the Astartes guy was a part of it. I just off the top of my head I don't recall, and I will say, at the very least, they absolutely were inspired by it.
Yeah.
All right, so do we have any other thoughts about Space Marine 2?
I've got many thoughts about Space Marine 2, but again, I'll cover that in my review when it comes out.
Right,
But
you get that.
overall, just as a TLDR, if you are one of the people that are boycotting the game or the overall 40k, this is a safe bet if you want to buy it and support Saber.
Yay!
This is one of those games where if you told me, oh, I'm boycotting GW, but I bought like a shit ton of models at a Warhammer shop, and tell you to go yourself. But if you then said, so I really am boycotting 40k, but Space Marine 2, from all the reviews I've read, from all the lore channels I've watched, it does seem okay. I'd be like, yeah, go right ahead. It's an 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, and
solid 8 out of 10.
And I would say this, like, and me and Nathan discussed it all the way up to the game coming out, but I would consider, like, purchasing of this video game, I wouldn't consider it breaking the boycott. Like, breaking the boycott is buying directly from GW, because they get 100% of the profits. It's kind of like like the whole Hogwarts Legacy thing with J.K. Rowling. Like, people were like, I'm boycotting it because I don't want to support her. It's like, okay, but even if you were to buy the game, right, she's only getting, like, a licensing fee.
Yeah.
She's not getting, like, she's getting maybe 1% of like the revenue, and the same goes here. Like,
it might be a commission, in like a commission, like for every percentage of sales, you then get a certain amount of money. But Saber would get most of the money because they developed the fucking thing, and they need to keep with the post-launch content. Like even with the roadmap they've come out, they need a lot of money to make all that. So
yeah, considering everything, they definitely deserved it.
Yeah, exactly. So I hard agree with you, Asmo. Hard agree.
So that's just something to keep in mind mentally. Is this, I wouldn't consider a breach of the boycott. And honestly, outside of the most, like, zealotous of people right now, most people wouldn't consider this a breach of the boycott.
Although
don't buy the minis.
Although I was gonna say, if you buy Space Marine 2 and go, oh, I really want to start an Ultramarine army, that's when you cross the line.
That's when you broke the boycott.
Because one, you've bought models directly from GW based upon the game, nothing to do with the game. And second of all, you picked the fucking Ultramarines.
Motherfucker.
Don't think you ain't getting past our senses with that.
It's like you taking you behind.
Yeah, fucking 2 in the back of the head, Clinton style. Like Uvu, I'm a diehard 40k fan. Like I've never bought a model from GW since the boycott. Oh really? What army do you mean? Space Marines? Oh cool. What Legion? Like what chapter of Legion? Ultramarine.
Get in the van. Get in the fucking van.
Loads double barrel with murderous intent.
It's either like the Tau, the Drukari, or fucking Ultramarine players. Like just. Is that meme of like those 2 people shaking hands and then they look to the third weird disfigured guy on the floor, like the Stone Toss comic? It's like Blood Angels and Dark Angels fans who look down as like Ultramarine fans.
Our second topic would be.
Oh, this should be fun.
So GW and Weta Workshop collab.
Okay, right, Nico. Do you want to let Asmo tell this whole story and then we chime in?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, go on, Asmo. The floor is yours.
Okay. So recently, GW put up a video on YouTube showcasing and advertising that they were doing basically they're having Weta Workshop produce some products for them. This isn't the first collab that GW has done. They've done it with Joy Toy. They've done it with a couple of other like action figure style brands. Now with Weta Workshop, for those who don't know, they are the people who made all of like the armor and all of, like the miniatures and stuff for the Lord of the Rings Peter Jackson films. They are the visual studio that were behind that whole thing. That's where they got their name.
Very respectable.
Oh yeah, like the quality they brought to the table for those films, and that was in the 90s. And early 2000s. So typically, when one were to do a collab with them, what would you assume they would produce? Keep in mind, Weta Workshop, they made full suits of armor for Lord of the Rings. They made full helmets, they made full shields and swords and stuff. And since then, their studio's done smaller things. They do miniatures, like I said, they do figurines, they do that stuff. But when you think of the collab, you think something full size like that, something wearable. Now in their video, What they actually showcase is bobbleheads that don't bobble.
What?
40K helmets, fully painted and designed by Weta Workshop, and there's something you could literally 3D print at home and paint to look identical.
But like, by the way, for all the slow people out there, when Asmogan says, the bobbleheads that don't bobble, the controversy isn't the fact that they are called bobbleheads, but they don't bobble. It's for the fact that they don't do fucking anything. They are, what's the scale? 1/6?
1/6.
The helmet size?
Yes.
Now, Asmogan, I am a shitter when it comes to 3D printing. I know next to nothing, right? I don't know my STDs from my STLs, right? So you, please educate me. What's the difference between taking a Blender model, like a 3D printable file of a Space Marine helmet, multiplying the size to the full helmet or quarter of the helmet size, definitely beating 1/6, and then just print it, apart from the limitations of the printer, for what, a fraction of the price? What's stopping you? What's stopping you from going on Etsy and buying it?
Not a damn thing.
Exactly.
Not a damn thing. Yeah, you can go on Etsy, or you can go on Colts and get the file yourself if you have a 3D printer. And in terms of print cost, let's say you had the most expensive resin for an SLA printer, this thing, if you didn't hollow it out, made it 1/6 scale, and let's say it will also add on, you 3D printed the base that you're gonna connect it to, is put it as your little desk decoration. The whole thing, if I had to guess in terms of resin cost, maybe $5 to $6 of resin. That's if you didn't hollow out the sculpts, and you didn't, and let's say you had like one failed print. It would cost you maybe $5 to $6. And if you hired someone else to do it for you, because you don't have it, but you found the file for them to print off for you, most 3D printers out there, people who sell like files, even just by commission, or if it's a friend, most won't charge you more than $30, $40.
Reasonable.
They're selling them for $99 on Weta Workshop store.
Oh.
And they are also selling some other stuff that other than the helmets, but I just wanted to go over the little bobbleheads because that was just fucking funny. It is like, again, the collab with Weta just to make these fucking little tiny helmets. Here's the thing: if they had done full helmets, wearable helmets, that people,
I'd buy. I totally buy that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and you could wearable helmets. You didn't even need to make them completely out of metal or anything. Just make a wearable helmet with the full paint job done and everything. People would buy that shit. And especially with Weta, the craftsmanship is going to be bang on.
It's what fans have been asking for years, haven't they?
Yeah, people will, and you can get helmets and stuff out there from Etsy creators for sure. But this would be the first time it'd be made by such a reputable source.
Yeah.
So,
imagine that.
Yeah, people would lose their minds. And you get non-bobbling bobbleheads.
So I just looked it up online, and I mean the thing that I'm looking at right now is not really a good example because technically it's discounted, but $99 in pound sterling is basically 75 quid or 75.50 if you want to be specific. So that's how much it would cost us without postage and shipping and all that, right? A box of World Eaters, and Asmo, this might make you jealous because technically I can buy a whole full World Eaters Corn Berserker box for £36 right now. Free shipping.
Just the Berserkers?
Just the Berserkers, 10 miniatures. All it's you buy the full box, it's everything's in box, it's complete, all the sprues and everything. 36 quid right now. 10 of them.
It's like 47 here.
Well, it's originally £42, but so I can't imagine what the fuck that'd do to you. But anyway, so my point is that regularly £42 for the price of a box of corn. You can have an army or a small squad of 10 Khorne Berserkers with 10 Khorne Berserker helmets, each with posing, weapons, shit like that,
Playability on
right?
the tabletop.
Exactly, actual practical use, rather than buying it and stick it on your desk. How about you buy it? Well, how about you buy the box instead, paint all the miniatures, and stick them in a line across the top of your desk? That'll look more impressive. Give them names like Dave the Angry, Bob the Not So Merciful.
Fred the Raging.
John the erectile. I don't know.
What? Erectile.
Fucking have one with a female head if you feel inclusive, like Karen the PMSing or whatever, right? but you see my point. Like the value for money doesn't match up
Yeah.
for what you could get in comparison. And like, oh yeah, well it's master sculpted. Is it really though? If they're selling them on that level of frequency?
And
Like compared to the personality you could put into actual models rather than a singular, what looks to be a accurate corn dildo if you're fucking brave enough, right? A 6 size of the helmet on your desk, just nothing. Not a fully wearable helmet, just a decorative piece for your desk, just to say, like, just to tell everyone around you, haha, I'm irresponsible with money.
pretty much.
Doesn't add up.
Thing is, like, the little helmets as well. I think they're plastic. They're not even like metal material.
Really?
Absolute shame.
Let's see. Materials. Primary polystone. Polystone.
Oh, hang on. Polystone's of a better quality, actually.
Is it? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Polystone.
It's of a higher quality, but it doesn't judge the actual. It doesn't justify the price.
Yeah, speaking of price, by the way, the 1/6 scale models that they're actually releasing, that I just posted in chat earlier.
Oh, yeah.
This is going on ludicrous price.
Yes. So
Oh yeah.
just a bit of context before. So Nico shared a few screenshots of other 40k stuff that Weta does. So there's a 1/6 scale statue of Abaddon the Despoiler. There's one of Lieutenant Titus Battle Line Edition, with and without a helmet, one with a Thunder Hammer and one without. And these aren't the same they're not the same statues as the ones in the digital edition, are they? Because the fucking price alone would tell you that it's not part of the digital or like the actual the premium physical collector's edition of Space Marine 2.
Yep.
Right? These are different statues. These are separate. Nico? Sorry, I just wanted to add a context for the people, just in case Asmogan does the typical thing of not putting the fucking screenshots in editing. You little goober.
In the recording right now, I have the Abaddon thing pulled up right now.
Very nice. Well,
Okay.
yeah, this is okay. So not only that, but this is going on for a ludicrous amount of price, and one of them is almost for just Abaddon the Despoiler, despite being a very cool looking model. This is almost $2,000.
Yeah.
And this is why I had to also screenshot like the other 1/6 models as well. And you see with the Lord of the Rings, you have, let's say, Witch King of the Unseen Lands, $400. You have King Aragon, $400. You have King of the Dead, which is $600, and the nearest the thing that's almost as expensive as the second most expensive is Radagast in Roheskobel, I think I said that right, which is $1,000, right? And then you have just the scale. Then you just have the scale model of Abaddon the Despoiler, almost double the price, or actually, even no,
Yeah, I'm pretty
almost
sure
double.
it is double.
Well, in US, it's 999. That would be 1899. No, 1999.
If it's not double the price, it's just short of.
It's just just short of double the price.
Yeah,
Like that, like with that amount of money, could you
The
not?
the price for Radagast in Rosgobel, which fucking Pyrrhus is probably going to kill us for the pronunciations, but Radagast in Rosgobel is $1,000 in and of itself. That is that is not a slight bit of money. That is a pretty penny for a sculpture like this, which is a bit on the high side. But I suppose if you've got that amount of money, go for it. Fucking splash your cash. But comparison-wise, which is what you're trying to do, Nico, I think.
Yeah.
To go from that to Abaddon is almost double the price.
Yeah, like I do understand. There's gonna be some pay pigs among 40k that'll just buy anything, and this is a bit unreasonable.
I bet.
Oh, yeah.
And what's even more embarrassing is if you go to Etsy and you just like look up like Lord of the Rings 1/6 scale stuff. Obviously, you get like a bunch of junk, right? Like a bunch of stuff that people won't want to get, like a lamp or like an art piece or Lego figures. But if you actually seep through it and you look for 1/6 figures, like statues and stuff. Like for example, let me check this one. This is 1/10, so it's not 1/6, but it's not that far off in size. And like I'll share the link. And I'll pull it over here. Boom.
Ooh.
It's 1/10 scale, not 1/6, so it is smaller, but it's still a big ass statue, and it comes painted. And this person's selling it for 112. Now, obviously, their base price was 149.
Yeah.
100. Again. Etsy is normally actually a place that upsells a lot of shit and a lot of collectibles for people. And even there, compared to buying it from Weta, 100 and even if we take away the discount it's going on for right now, yeah, $150 roughly for 1/10 scale. And for only slightly bigger, okay, maybe, to be fair, slightly might not be a fair description.
Plus, also, to be fair, I don't mind buying from Etsy because most places on Etsy are not big businesses. It's typically either a small-ass business or it's individuals who are doing this.
Right.
Handcraft. I'm paying that little bit extra to support them because guaranteed they're probably making a living off of these workshops and storefronts. I don't mind. I like that shit because it rewards their creativity, and it's just like, oh, I can actually make a living being a really cool person and not being a dickhead and ripping people off.
Exactly.
I don't mind. But for $2 fucking grand for Abaddon the Despoiler, right? $2 for Abaddon. I wouldn't even pay it to like 20 quid for Abaddon. Abaddon's a bitch.
Yeah.
I don't like fucking. I don't like Abadabba dumbass.
Like, this is unreasonable, even if you made it a Primarch. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense. Like the only thing I can think of like why Weta is over, like even for their normal prices, right, is charging such an uptick for Abaddon. Because complexity wise, I would argue that the 1/6 scale King of the Dead model is as complex as Abaddon's model that they're selling. Yet one is $600, the other one's almost $2,000. I think the reason that they're upselling it so much is GW's cut.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
GW must be asking for an obscene percentage from Weta, is my guess. So Weta, like if they were getting, let's say, like 90% of the funds, the model would probably be closer to what their other models are, like maybe a little bit more. So let's say, using the King of the Dead model as an example, that's again 600. Because they have to give 10% to GW, they'll uptick it to like 800. All right, far more reasonable. Still very pricey, and I don't know a lot of people that would bother with that, but
Exactly. Like, there are some people that live off the month on less than that. It's like if you're buying just a figure for $2,000, like I'm gonna slap you in the face. Like,
Yeah.
fucking...
Yeah, like something being like, and I know they'll be justified, like, oh well, if it's a really expensive sort of hobby, there's a pay gate to entry, you don't have to buy it or whatever. But it's the price they offer in comparison to what else is out there.
Yeah, find
If
a
you wanna
cheaper
buy-
alternative.
Yeah, there's cheaper alternatives, and if you want to buy $2,000, right? If you want to be buggy 2988 on all this fucking shite, spend a lot of money on an expensive hobby and then cry about it when you've not got any money left and go, hey, what did I do to deserve this?
That's why it fucking sucks.
Right. Abaddon being near enough $2,000. That is, you can buy a fucking car for a fraction of that price. The $2,000 is several car payments.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And if you want to spend it right on a figure within 40k, that if you like, you must be a masochist to be hated that much. If you like Abaddon for some fucking reason,
Or maybe you just love gambling.
Go right
It's
ahead.
Like, I really want to spend my money right now. I don't get it.
let's go 40k figure shopping. Oh dang it! Oh dang it! Oh dang it! Just shit figure after shit figure.
Oh god. Oh, if Games Workshop ran a casino.
Wouldn't you argue they already fucking do at this point, because you buy a model and you never really know if it's gonna go out of stock. You go on the website and you've got to like calculate GW stocks and figures and leaks to go, oh shit, is this figure gonna go off the thing? Like, do I need to buy it? Like, is it like it's purchase? I swear to God, do you know that scene from South Park where they cut the head off the chicken and it decides the bank, what bank they got? Like, it's a bailout. I reckon GW does that, but it's like a faction list, and whatever the dead chicken lands on, they remove.
Bailout. Oh damn.
Which, funny enough, might be related to the next topic.
Oh, yeah?
And the dead chickens landed on Eldari.
Speaking of, yeah, that's GW's fucking the Widow Workshop collab. That is an iceberg.
Yeah,
holy shit.
it's
All right.
it was a short ass topic, but it's a no brainer. Like, just fucking dunking on them.
Yeah, it's a point and laugh
Yeah.
one, because no one's gonna like the little heads. That's one thing, but no one's gonna buy those fucking nobody.
Nobody's sensible, at least, because if you see the comments on that video, someone like, "Oh my god, it's so amazing," and then they're practically just deep throating GW in one hand. Like, oh my god, please give us more bubble.
Give us my ultimate read.
Actually, a friend of mine from the Legion of Unpopular Opinions, my buddy Oddball over there. He's an old.
Oddball.
He has
Love him.
3D printed these massive statues that I'm pretty sure are 1/6 or bigger. Like, actually, they might even be like 1/5 scale, 1/4 scale. Huge ass fucking statues. They're bigger than his torso, right? Of the Primarchs that he's painted. And first of all, they look way better than the Weta one. No offense to Weta, but they do. And that's 3D printed, and I'm pretty sure he didn't... After 3D printing all the parts, it still came out to cheaper than, like, $30 of resin. Like, that's what I cannot stress enough. Like, if 3D printing didn't exist, you could make an argument for, like, these extraordinary costs. But in the face of 3D printing being a thing, with those price gougings, it's just stupid. Like, you're pushing people towards 3D printing when you are telling them, hey, you're like buying this new car so your family can get around, or this miniature. Like yeah, that's ridiculous. Like, especially with the 1/6 statues that are purely for aesthetic.
It's like shooting yourself in the bullet wound. It's just like, again, like you're just making it worse.
Yeah, like if there wasn't 3D printing, they have the monopoly, right? But with 3D printing in existing, you're fucking retarded.
One other point I'd like to bring up is, like, somebody may say, Asmogan, well, not everyone has time to sit down, carve out a 3D printed helmet and paint it. Because clearly money isn't an issue if you can afford a thing like this. But for a fraction of the price, people might go, yeah, well, you know, the reason why you've got to pay so much is for their time and labor. Oh, really? So somebody who clearly doesn't have passion for 40k is just buying fucking random ass overtly priced statues. So they don't have enough passion to sit down and dedicate their time and effort to mitigate, what, 80% of the cost? Because they clearly have the money to do it if they're buying it. So then it becomes a matter of passion, in my opinion. And if it's a matter of passion, why the fuck are you into 40k in the first place?
Exactly.
If you're that surface level, like, you want to buy it because it's cool, fuck off.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right. So that leads us.
Whenever somebody says the word corn, they probably think, "Oh my god, corn! I love that band." They're fucking twanging the guitar. They don't think about almighty blood running god. Sorry.
All right. Our third and final topic: GW nuking the Imperial Guard range. Now,
That's a bit misleading. They didn't nuke the whole fucking range, did they?
Well, no. Okay, my bad. They nuke part of the range. Let's put it that way, or it's seemingly so. So I've kind of led the way on the last two topics. I'm gonna let Nitho. What the fuck did I just do now? I combined Nathan and Nico.
Nitho, is this a new a fanfic ship of me and Nico? Oh fuck! Susie's gonna listen to this.
You know what to do, lass. And then
Shit.
Nathan and Nico, or as their ship name is now, Nitho. I'll let them take the reins on this one.
Tahay, if you're listening, don't. I know you're gonna fucking make a diagram of me and Nico. Their flags are both red, white, and blue, and crosses with stripes.
Oh.
It was a match made in heaven. Oh fuck! That's fuel for the fire. Shit. So, basically, it's several degrees of separation. So I first heard about this from Tiki the Hut. He does streams every weekend. Tiki time, fucking love him. He's a beautiful guy. I first heard about it from him. Yeah. I first heard about it from him, who then told us chat. I was in the chat. I then looked this up and I was like, no fucking way. So what's happened? And I used Auspec's tactics video to verify this, and he did a great video on it. So basically, what GW have done is they've nuked several lines of models from the more worryingly Imperial Guard, and also the Eldari line. And obviously, as you full well know, the Eldar get so little love that nuking even one unit in the sort of big repository of, well, all 5 of their fucking units on the tabletop. Getting rid of one just eliminates 20% of the damn army. Mm-hmm. But for the Imperial Guard, bastards got rid of Harken and Straken.
You take that personally.
Fuck.
Straken, yeah.
Straken, yeah. Harker and Straken. You know Harker, the big, bulky Catachan beefcake that can one-hand, or that can two-hand, and heavy bolter. And then Straken, it was basically the Iron Hands if they were mixed with Catachans, because one of his armors is just like pure chrome metal. Really cool characters if you're a Catachan fan. If you're a Krieg fan, you're fine, because Krieg is the new sort of Ubu poster boy for the Imperial Guard, but your time will come. You will get the same treatment as the Catachans.
Yep.
The Catachans really have taken a blow over the last decade.
I know, and they're so interesting.
I know,
And there's so much potential too. Like
exactly.
If you want to,
well, to be fair, you could say that about a lot of Imperial fucking Guard regiments, but GW won't listen to that, Nico. They'll be like, nah, we like Krieg, shovel memes, make us money, nah.
And listen, as a Krieg fan, I don't want the Cadians to stop being the poster boys. And
I love Cadian.
Huh?
Sorry, I just said in the background, yes, I love Cadia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're a better poster boy than the Ultramarines.
Yeah, Krieg, the thing is, this is what's weird with GW, right? Is, when they do, make changes, it always seems to be at the cost of other things. Is there... Like, people have wanted Krieg to be plastic forever and wanted plastic kids. Cool. Please facilitate that. Doesn't mean you need to, like, take away a bunch of other stuff in the place of it. It's like, can we have that and maintain the plastic kits that we have, please? And thank you.
But Asmo, it means that people might not actually buy them.
Oh, fuck off.
You know, if the Acadians are still around, people might not buy the Creek. I can't even do the voice. Fucking hell.
Thank God.
Yeah,
Alright,
it's
so,
it's ridiculous.
yeah, and them removing these models, this does kind of, it's not to the same degree, because honestly, this is not as bad as the situation.
No.
What?
No, you're gonna reference the Space Marine Cullen, aren't you? The old boy Space Marine Cullen.
Yeah, and the Dreadnought.
Fuck them.
Yeah, that is still bullshit. Yeah, like, this isn't as bad as that situation, because that fucking sucked. So for those who don't know, rewind the clock way back when to the first point. When Primaris were first added to the lore, they were added to the miniatures for the sculpts and stuff. And way back when, people said, oh, okay, they're going to replace Firstborns. And they did effectively, rules-wise, because why, like, Space Marines didn't stop being a good army, like normal ones, but compared to Primaris, why on earth would you not take a Primaris army and take a Firstborn army outside of, you know, obviously the preference? The stats-wise, Primaris were, from the outset, a better force for not that much of a points difference for Space Marines. So even way back when, people were like, oh, they're going to replace Firstborns with Primaris. Now, 2GW's credit, they didn't do it for the longest fucking time, to the point that it started to seem like they weren't going to do it. It's like, okay, we can still get Firstborn and still get Primaris, for those who like that shit. Until about a year and a half ago now. Jeez, it feels like that. I'm not sure if it's been a year and a half. But a year and a half ago, shortly after, a few months after, they, like, culled all the box dreads, the dreadnoughts. So, and the Stern Guard veterans at that point. They shelved all of those, so you can't get ironclad dreadnoughts outside the secondary market anymore. You can't get any of the other variants of the box dreadnoughts anymore, which sucks. But shortly after that, they finally did it, what people thought they were going to do way back when, and they removed wholesale a shit ton of Firstborn Marine kits. I think the only ones that they left untouched were the Tactical Squad heavies, I think. So, like, the heavy gunners. And, like,
Yeah.
the two other kits. So, the core kits that make up a lot of armies for, like, the base infantry are still there. Plus, like, one elite choice. But everything else got shelved, or replaced, or completely cut out. So if you want to play a Firstborn Marine army in 40k, you can't now. Not if you want a diverse selection of choice. You can technically, if you want your army to be pretty fucking useless. So they shelved a ton of them. So this, by comparison, with them shelving guard models and shelving Eldari models, which is more egregious because of the lack of options there is to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
This, by comparison, isn't as big, but it is still kind of out of left field. Because the thing is, with the Firstborn thing, people were calling it way back when, right? Because of Primaris. Like, there is a replacement for them. As much as people may not want to call them that, that's what Primaris always were. They were replacement.
A great replacement.
Pretty much. It was a great replacement. Unironically.
It reminds me of that, like, not the poem, like the one that they used after World War II. The one to do with I think it's called, like, the First They Came one. Like, first they came for the Eldari players, and I did not speak out because I was not an Eldari player. Then they came for the Guard, and I did not speak out because I was not a Guard player. Then they came for Chaos, and I did not speak out because I was a Chaos player. And now they come for me, a Firstborn player, but there's no one left to speak for me.
It's true. Yeah, like that being said, this is still kind of bad. especially for the Eldari players, because to have any of their kits removed,
Oh yeah.
like,
Oh,
yeah, taking down a bunch of their Forge World kits too. If I'm just looking over Auspec's Tactics, who reported on this, by the way, credit to him. But Auspec Tactics points out that the only thing that remains for Forge World Eldari kits is the Revenant Titan plus weapon options, the Phantom Titan plus weapon options, and the Jakari Tantalus. That's it for their Forge World kits. Now, I can't remember the exact number that used to be there, but I know for damn sure there were way more options than that for Eldari for the longest time. So that's plenty of kits there that got nuked. And
Yeah, there's also the Imperial Guard vehicles of the Imperial. Fuck, I can't read that. The Imperial Bombard. Or Bombard, like I can't read it. Like the video's very low quality on my screen at the moment.
okay.
Bombard, the Valdor Tank Hunter, the Malkador Defender, the Imperial Quad Launcher, or the Thud Gun as it's known, and the Imperial Heavy Mortar. Harker and Strachan. There's also
You know what's ironic about the Imperial Heavy Mortar though? Like that, I'm just seeing like that because I have an equivalent of that from Red Makers, which they're a 3D sculpting group that make a lot of replacement. Like if you want to make Krieg, Imperial Guard and stuff, they make a lot of stuff. Not just Krieg, by the way. They do other Imperial Guard. But the Imperial Heavy Mortar, if you see it in Auspec's video, I have like 3 of those that are pure 3D printed that look better than that sculpt. Not to throw too much shade, but I have a better looking version of that from Red Makers.
oh yeah, as well the Malkadoran Furnace, as well as the Marauder planes. All gone. And it's still up in the air whether they'll bring them back with new models, but Asmogan, you brought out an interesting point before we started the podcast about the patterns in which they do it, if they do come out with new models.
Yeah, normally when GW, when they're going to replace a line with a new high quality sculpt or something like that, what usually happens is they'll announce the replacements like months before they plan on having them available. And then you'll see like the either there'll be a sale or they'll just be sold out at some point. Normally that's what will happen is you get the announcement close to the time that they're going to drop the new models. They sell out of the old versions and then the new one drops like immediately after. Something like this where just a bunch of stuff gets labeled sold out and implying that they're not going to put new ones on there, that doesn't tell me that they're planning on doing replacements. And we just got a couple of announcements like a day or two ago of new models from GW. Like they have that new Chaos Sorcerer looking dude and like a new Orc model and stuff. If they were going to do a big reveal of, hey, this entire big chunk of models we had for Imperial Guard, yeah, we're doing a huge range overhaul with brand new sculpts and brand new kits. Look out for that. That would have been the time to do it. They didn't do that. And they quietly made these things sold out with very little ceremony. So that tells me that, yeah, they are just erasing these as options.
I think the telling factor would be like, these models could be taken away and could be improved and, updated. So who got retcon? Well, so who got taken off? Oh, there's the guard. Oh, I can still see that happening. There's the tanks for the guard. Oh, I can see that happening. And the moment you say the world Eldari, yeah, they're not coming back. With the moment the world Eldari's mentioned, they're like, nah, they're going in the bin. They're going in the forever box. They ain't coming out.
Do you think they'll ever just quit with the making anything for the Eldar, or just like discontinue them entirely?
Yeah, I
hope they don't. I really hope they don't. I like the Eldar. As gay as that sounds, I like the Eldar.
I don't think I won't go that far as to think that they'd remove the Eldar as a whole entirely. Nah, I don't think they'll ever do that because it is still a played faction. It's still part of like all the sheets. See, the idea that they would completely end the line is very. Let me put it to you this way. If there was a sign that GW was potentially going to go out of business, that would be one of the things I'd expect. Is they'd be ending whole lines of armies. It's like, oh, Eldar, we're not doing Eldar anymore. We're not doing Drukhari anymore. They start stopping the sale of whole armies. It means that they've had to take a huge downgrade in the background due to budget cuts, which means that could be the bell tolling for the company as a whole. So as long as that company is still making any kind of money and they still have any kind of staying power, they will not wholesale get rid of any army, whether it's Eldar, Votann, etc. But I will say, I just don't think that this is all being done to replace, like, a lot, and admittedly a lot of these kits are Forge World, but I don't see them replacing them with plastic kits. Like, they would have already done some kind of, at the very least, teaser. And there is a scenario I see that this is just one big plan to do a replacement. And that's if they're waiting for the holiday season. Like, if they're waiting for Christmas time to then announce, like, a big, huge, like, hey, all those kits we just ended for Forge World, good news. And they drop this huge fuck off Krieg box and stuff, and these huge new kits for, like, the tanks and stuff in Forge World. But that wouldn't explain the Eldari part. Yeah, like that's I could see that for Imperial Guard potentially, but for me, I don't see why they would do sold out now for those models, because we're a whole 2 months away from the Christmas season. Well, technically, if a lot of people would consider November Christmas season, or at the very least after Thanksgiving, I would say December. At the beginning of December is like the true Christmas season. But yeah, people do start buying in like mid to late November.
Are you excited for the Christmas decoration coming months beforehand? Because it's starting here.
Oh, God. Thank God the Halloween spirit is actually quite alive in my neighborhood. Everyone's got their Halloween stuff out. Thank God. But no, nobody's got Christmas lights up yet.
Give it time.
But yeah, I don't think they're replacing these kits. Because, again, normally they do some kind of announcement, whether it's a hint or something, to unceremoniously and quietly just label a bunch of stuff sold out. Yeah, I think Auspic Tactics is being, hopefully he's right. But I just looking at like that part of the screen where he's like, it looks like it's in preparation for final removal, and a good chunk of it will be replaced by plastic range. I mean, I'm hoping he's right, but I think he's being optimistic. Because, again, normally they'd announce something first before just closing off a bunch of stuff.
When do you reckon GW is ever going to make anything new for the Eldar again?
Never. Well, that's probably... Nah, that's probably...
By the time the heat death of the universe comes
along.
Yes.
I'll say this. Like, for every time we get something new for Eldar or Drukhari, either end, expect a 10 to 20 year gap between the next true update from that.
Yeah.
It's just GW focuses all their efforts on what they know sells. They are a very money-driven company. They have been from the outset. Only in like the last 5 years have they shown signs of being affected by other things. But for
are they very money-driven? Are they?
Supposedly.
Are they very money-driven? Is that the only thing they care about?
Mel's funny.
My ears got blown out by Nathan.
My voice is quite overpowering when I lean in.
When you're deep throating the fucking mic, yeah, I bet it is.
Oh, I can deep throat the mic if you want me to.
I'm good. I'm good. I don't need you to flex that skill.
Oh, Nathan.
I don't think Ander watches our stream.
You need to do some reading to create audiobooks. You need to create audio.
Oh fuck, I should do readings. Thanks, Nico.
I mean, I'm excited for the one that you're gonna do for the XCOM book.
Oh fuck, yes, I need to make that one. Oh, so I am planning on making a video, and it is reading for a story. I have told someone else what the story is going to be, but it's a very well-known 40k story. Yeah, but it's not a 40k piece of lore.
That's fair.
It's a fan fiction, a very infamous fan fiction of 40k.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Does it involve something to bloom?
Does it involve something what, sorry?
Does it involve something blooming?
Is that a
Blooming.
euphemism?
It involves a relationship blooming.
Hmm.
It's the relationship is quite unorthodox though, as per the first two chapters. But you'll have to see.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but
Chapters,
yeah,
so-
yeah, but you'll have to see when that comes out.
So it's not something heretical.
It's as close to heretical as you can possibly get. Like I said, we'll wait until that comes out.
Sure.
But yeah, to get back into topic, I can imagine like a lot of 40k players given this with very popular sort of Katachan, one-off named characters, and given the Space Marine call that we got like a few months back. No one's safe. Unless you're an Ultramarine Primaris diehard supporter, no one is safe. In fact, fuck, I wouldn't be surprised if I woke up tomorrow and all of a sudden the whole last Drukhari line's been taken out.
That sounds like a nightmare scenario, but instead, it's like you just.
Of course, the edgy person would say the Drukhari line getting wiped out. It's a nightmare scenario.
No, but just think about it though. It's just like the ultimate. I view this as the ultimate Asmo nightmare. Like imagine, like let's just say you're back in the good old days and GW didn't do something retarded. You go to the Games Workshop shop and it's like, oh, I want to get me some models. But then you just see a whole bunch of Ultramarines. Okay, I'll try something else. Maybe the Orcs, and then they are Orcs, but they're also in Ultramarines lines. And then you try another army. But they also have Ultramarine lines, and then you realize, oh shit, they all have Ultramarine color schemes. They have the fucking toilet bowl everywhere.
the Ultramarine the Ultramarine Eldari craft world, the Ultramarine Dynasty for the Necrons, the Ultramarine Warband, also Wargband for the Orcs, the Ultramarine Warband for Chaos, which Chaos Ultramarines actually does sound very sensible.
There's no escape.
Fucking High Fleet Ultramarine for the Nids.
Oh god.
All the original ones that went to McCracken 8, all the Ultramarines, a few of them got off the planet, survived, went back to the hive ship and just started breeding a bunch of blue, gold, and red Mantle Brother looking Tyranids. Forge World Ultramarine, if you want to do the Mechanicus. There's the old Ordo Ultramarinus for the Inquisition. There would be the Ultramarine clan for the Drukhari.
The McCrack heresy.
Yeah. There would be the Ultramarine Regiment, which is the Imperial Guard.
And even the title of Warhammer, Ultra Hammer.
Fucking Ultramarine. Funny enough, while I was in Spain, me and Tehe were on a bus and we were going to a little town called Santiana. And on the way back, I shit you not, fuck it, I need to show you that. I've talked about it. There was a place on the way back, and I shit you not, it's called Ultramarinos.
Oh, no way.
I am not fucking making that up. Like, no word of a lie. There's a fucking place called Ultramarinos. I nearly shot out of my seat. Like, I nearly spat out the Coke that I was drinking. Because we were driving back. It was like, Ultramarinos. I'm like, fucking what?
Oh. Fuck.
Oh, I really hope I can fucking find it.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah, sure, that probably covers about all the topics.
Thank you all, you lovely people, for watching. I have been your host, Asmogan.
I've been Nathan X2000.
I have been Nico40K.
And we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.